Hello and welcome to today's short regulatory video on MiFID II and MiFIR. Firstly, we'll look at what is MiFID. The original MiFID was the Markets in Financial Instruments Directive, which was brought in 2004. It is one of the cornerstone pieces of EU financial services legislation, which explains which instruments, services and activities need to be regulated across Europe. It explains how investment firms need to organise themselves and how they should interact with clients to ensure both they and their assets are properly protected. MiFID sets the framework for trading infrastructure in the form of marketplaces. And it also introduces harmonised rules and a passport regime for cross-border European business. We will now look at why MiFID II has been implemented. Regulators felt that gaps needed to be filled. MiFID was becoming outdated by increasing use of new technology and investment services. There were calls for a more level playing field in some areas. There were also concerns about the exemptions available for firms trading in commodities and the integrity of the emission allowance market. Additionally, there was the perception that firms had not taken some conduct requirements seriously. In addition to these changes, there were some new requirements for product governance, intervention, and the recording of telephone conversations and electronic communications. The MiFID II package comprises two pieces of primary legislation, the first being MiFID II itself. MiFID II applies to retail clients and opt-in professional clients, and therefore generally a high level of protection is afforded. As a directive, MiFID II needs to be transposed into the national law of member states, which can result in gold plating of certain requirements and therefore minimum harmonisation. The other piece of primary legislation is the Markets in Financial Instruments Regulation, or MiFIR. This applies to eligible counterparties and per se professional clients, being those that automatically fall within that category. Given that these are more sophisticated clients, generally there is a lower level of protection afforded. As MiFIR is a regulation, it applies directly in all member states without the requirement for transposition. This results in maximum harmonisation and no opportunity to gold plate. In 2011, the European Commission published the MiFID II proposal. In 2014, political agreement was reached and the legislation was published in the Official Journal of the European Union. Entry into force of the directive and the regulation was originally anticipated to be on the 3rd of January 2017. However, in February 2016, the European Commission published a proposal to delay this for 1 year, and therefore MiFID II and MiFIR will come into force on the 3rd of January 2018. There are two principal exclusions from MiFID II, as mentioned in the preamble to the directive. The first is those services provided under the Undertakings for Collective Investment in Transferable Securities, or UCITS directive. The second is the services provided under the Alternative Investment Fund Managers Directive, or AFMD. It should be noted, however, that where services not mentioned in these directives are provided as part of an overall package, the additional services may be subject to MiFID II or MiFIR. The other important change in MiFID II and MiFIR is the third country access route. Looking at MiFID II specifically, there may be a requirement when accessing certain jurisdictions from a third country to set up a branch. However, other jurisdictions within the European Union, including the United Kingdom, may not require a branch. This can be set by the regulator or government at a national level. If you'd like to learn more about MiFID II, then please contact us to discuss the training available, including MiFID II awareness seminars aimed at all staff, MiFID II workshops aimed at managers or directors responsible for implementing MiFID II within a business. In addition, Midshore are currently in the process of putting together a regulatory certificate in respect of MiFID II, which will include variants for both EU member states and third countries. We are also pleased to offer services including MiFID II compliance and readiness checking, MiFID II project management, and in addition we'd like to introduce you to our new service GY Compass, which will assist businesses in registering for MiFID II services within European countries from outside. If you'd like to discuss any of these services, please contact us at the contact details shown on screen. Thank you.